everybody, how you doing today? Hope you're all having a great weekend. Oh, knocked something over. Or not a great weekend. Hope you're all having a great week. Yeah, I'm ready for the weekend and it's only Thursday, but yeah, I had a pretty good morning, so nothing too special. But let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, we're not working on this right now. We're gonna do more on the lobby, specifically. Specifically on trying to fix the way that the server deals with clients. So right now, the server has one client for every lobby slot, and that's not the best way to do it because some lobby slots just won't have a client associated with them if they're either an AI or a host. So I think that it's a good idea to decouple them. And so I was kind of in the middle of trying to do that. And one thing I did was change this active to a dictionary instead of a list. So what this does, start. Okay, so this just creates the, excuse me, the, oh, it just creates one client. Why does it need to do that though? Because it doesn't have a connection. Oh, well, that's fine. It just creates the host client and then it will be set up later. So we just need to set this. So, okay. Whenever we, where is this? Whenever we add a client, we have to do it a specific way now. Because it has to have a specific ID. That's where I am right now. I'm trying to see where else it's added. I guess it would be when we're setting up lobby slots because we want to create a client for every lobby slot that is for a player. So yeah. Should I just I don't know if I should do this. Actually, I think I have to because otherwise, yeah, when the host connects, the lobby would try to reject them because it would say it has no clients open. So yeah, let's okay, so what I would do here, let's have a helper function for this, I guess. So we got public client. Let's do it this way. So add client. I guess we can return the ID. So let's see, private int last ID. Well, it doesn't need to be private. So we can just do it like that. And then active ID equals client and we return ID. Okay, so yeah, I would actually do it like that. Okay, so let's just look through this list and see any other time that the clients is used as a list. Yeah, we updated most of these already. Yeah, so it's checking for everyone, and then check. So I was trying to get the lobby, the client for a specific lobby slot there. It's the client index, and I already made sure that these were up to date. I remember from yesterday. And the client connection, so that's where that's the actual class. So yeah, we need to update this match lobby parameters. So I'm gonna do that later because that's where we're gonna add a bunch of stuff. The client connection messages. Okay, so this is going to just send something back to the clients about the other clients that are connected. So probably I should change the way this works. Yeah, because now every client is a player. So I'll have connected username, and I guess I'll have the slot index. This is way too long of a line right there. Okay, the username, connected, and the slot index. So I don't want to do that. I want to do the status message. So right now we're looping through the client's dictionary as if it was a list, so we can't do that. First, I guess we'll need to count the number of active clients. We can do it this way. So var active IDs would be clients active keys. We don't have to count it ourselves. Okay, I don't know what that was about. And then we'll do something like, well, I guess I still need to loop through, so it'd be a message clients link. Okay, and that would be, so can I index this, I wonder? Yeah, I didn't think that would work. Okay, so let's do it this way. Int at index. It's gonna be a little weird, but well, okay. Let's do. No, I will do it this way. So int at index 0 for each var ID in active IDs. I'll have to do an old-fashioned increment like that. It's not a huge deal. And then at index. Okay, so yeah, I think this is all up to date now. Alright, and so connection validator. Okay, so this tries to assign a user when it connects to the server. So really this doesn't have to change. It would just see if a slot is open or not, and then try to assign a user to that. I think I'll come back to this too. So this is timeout. Okay, I already updated that, so. And I think I updated the message collector. The play timeout. Okay, it's been updated. Server connection watcher, this is just... Yeah, so when something disconnects, it just sets the disconnection. Okay, and then it clears the clients. I guess I could reset the IDs at this point because the server has stopped, but I don't know, it doesn't really make much difference. Okay, and then timeout manager needs to be updated, so okay, so one other thing I should take to account is that I don't think I say if this is like a spectator, because if it's a spectator that means we don't care about some certain ready checks. But we're not really, I'm not planning to support spectating right now, so yeah, let's just pretend that there's not really support for it right now. But how I probably would do that is I just have a flag that this is a spectator and then certain timeouts wouldn't care about it. I could go ahead and just add some default support for it. Let's see. Probably how I do it is... Let's go back. Let's see. Client flags. And we'll do something like how we did with the terrain system. And so we just have flags here for I guess spectator. And then certain things could probably just say that they don't care if a spectator is not connected. But yeah, well, I'm not really going to worry about that right now, but I think if I go ahead and have this set up, then later on I can add support for it pretty easily. So yeah, right now just checking if a client is taken. So do I still need that? Yeah, because I guess... I'm trying to see. Actually... Because what a client... Oh no, okay, so a client is created whenever there's a lobby slot that needs to be filled. So it could be open, which would mean that some connection could connect to it. Yeah, so this just says that it wants to make sure that this is taken. I guess I could, instead of using the state here, yeah, because I don't think we'll have a none client anymore, because in that case the client just wouldn't exist. So probably I could just have a flag here. Like that. Yeah, well, so let's just get rid of this. So we'll just want to make sure that there's somebody connected here, and certain flags are given. So let me see. So if the connection is less than that, or okay, so okay, I see. So we only want to return false if this client has flags we care about and it's disconnected. So, and client flags and flags equals flags. So that means it has all these flags. And I guess I'll just return, or I'm just going to hard code this now because we'll need to add it later. So yeah, it just needs to be taken. So yeah, that's fine. But besides that, this is all. Oh well, no, because this is going using a for loop, so I actually need to do a for each. Our client and client's active. Oh, client's active values. There we go. Okay, I think this will be better. So now I'm pretty sure I've updated all the classes that deal with clients except for the validation and the lobby slot match. So let's, I mean, they're kind of interconnected. Let's start here. Okay, so what I need to do, have this max accepted slots. Oh, well, that's kind of, okay, why do I have 2? Well, we want it a lot higher than that. Okay, so what should happen here? We need to loop through the lobby slots and see if there's... So basically I think how we'll do it is that whenever the lobby changes, we'll need to like reevaluate all the slots that are given to us and try, and if any of them don't make sense anymore, then we'll have to try and reassign that player. Oh, also another thing I want to do is this params message. Okay, I want to have a separate one that's actually sent to the server, and this will be class lobby param set message. And this will also have a collection of commands that the player would have given. Like a command to explicitly kick a certain player or to transfer a player to another slot. Because we want that to be kind of like given, and so we shouldn't rely on the server to try and place those players unless we actually what's the word? Well, we just want them to actually match what the user inputs into the interface instead of letting the server try to reassign slots. So but at the same time, it's also going to come with a change in the lobby parameters. So I think it's safer to just have both of them be in the same class. So I think I'm going to do it this way. So lobby params. And this will just be a class and it'll be serializable and it'll have all this stuff. Let's just put data at the end so it'll be a different name. And then I'll have a serializable lobby command. Oh yeah, this should be a class. So none, kick, connection, and transfer slot. So yeah, we'll have public. Type, and then I guess we'll just need, well, we'll need 2 integers. We'll need source slot, and then we'll need a target slot. For kick connection, it will need this target slot or target slot if I can't type it. Oh, I still can't type it. There we go. Okay, so let's move this. So this server, or I mean this message is sent out to everybody, and it only contains the lobby parameters after the server has received it from the host. But this one will have the lobby parameter data as well as a list of commands. Wait, you can't have a list in this, so it'll just be an array, which is fine. So I'll need to go and change some stuff about this, which I thought that this might happen because like the old lobby was really bare bones and hackish, so I don't mind too much. Let's lobby messages. So this should change to lobby params set message. So I should change this to last set message, and then we'll have lobby params change message. Let's do, oops. Well, I don't think it'll matter. I was gonna say I should have a boolean that says that this has been updated, but I think it should be fine. Because yeah, we'll deposit the new message here when we're done. Okay, so this should be lobby param set message. Okay, so right here I'm gonna loop through, but I don't think I need to do this really. It's just if we see a slot that doesn't have a client associated with it, we'll need to just create a new client for that. So so yeah, we'll worry about that later. First, I actually need to actually I'm gonna, before I change anything, I'm going to just comment this whole thing out. Maybe this whole method, and this will just be an old version until I'm done with this in case I need to check back. Obviously I'd still have it in my version control, but it's easier just to look in this file. That way, well, we'll leave all this, but I think I can get rid of all this. Okay, so what I first need to do is see if there's been any commands. So for each command and commands. Oh, and I also need to check that this array is not empty, because that can happen, or is not null. Oh, I just did that backwards. So if this is not null, then we'll loop through it. Okay, so then I think I'll just have a method that will be execute command, and it will return a boolean, and that way if it's true I can just set configuration change to true. So we'll just generate it down here. Okay, so I'll need a switch. Command type. If it's kick, we'll do something. If it's transfer, we'll do something. Default, we'll just return false because that command didn't actually matter. Well, I didn't need to have a break here because we'll actually just have returns. But okay, so kick connection is actually really simple. I just kick that player. So I have a forced disconnect, but I don't think it, well, it automatically does change some stuff, but it doesn't like kick that connection immediately, but that's fine. The main thing is it should reset this client to -1. I guess it should remove the taken flag, but we'll do that here. So if I guess we should get the client. So int client. We'll need that helper. Private active client sender. Okay, so client helper, oh wait, that equals client helper get client for lobby slot, and that's the command. Source slot. So if this client is greater than or equal to 0, then that means that there was some client associated with that slot. And then we would force disconnect. And then we need to set the flags here to 0, I think. We can safely do that. And also, well, I guess this client would still exist. Because, yeah, we'd only delete it if this slot... well, let's see. How would I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do this would be. It's basically, we just kick the player, but that client is still, as far as we know, still exists unless the lobby parameters have changed. So yeah, we'll just leave it, set flags to 0 because it, I guess it still could be taken too because we don't know about the state, because it could still be reserved for that username. Okay, yeah, so we should just force disconnect it. Okay, and then transfer. First we have to make sure that there's a client that is not part of, or that's not already in that slot. If there is a client in that slot, then what would I guess we would just disconnect that client from that slot, and then in this code we would try to find a new slot for it. But really the UI shouldn't let you do that anyway, so it's not a huge deal. But the server, I guess, would just do it in case. Okay, so int the current client equals client helper command target, and then new client equals client helper source. Okay, so if current client is greater than or equal to 0, actually, yeah, we won't even need to do anything if new client is greater than or equal to, if new client doesn't exist, we won't have to do anything. Then we would set clients active current client lobby slot index to -1. And then we would just set clients, active, new client, to the command target slot. So I think that would be fine. That's all we have to do here. And now, after we execute these commands, the server will go through and validate that the clients actually match the data given in the lobby. So yeah, these should... This would actually return a client greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so I think that's good. So let me see. So after, yeah, we execute commands. Let me write a little timeline up here just to organize my thoughts. So we execute commands to move around clients. And then we need to, I guess, okay, so we need to look for slots. Yeah, so yeah, open slots, which would be any slot without, or that's not the right word. Look for slots without a client. I'm just trying to think what's the best way. So basically we want every command, or every client, or no, we want every lobby slot that is this player type to have a client associated with it. And that client can either have, I mean, it doesn't have to be connected, it could be disconnected, that's fine. I think that's what keeps confusing me. So really, we want to make sure that go through the lobby parameters and make sure that every slot has a client first. And then we would go through the clients that exist. Actually, okay, so we should go through all the clients we have now and try and make sure that the slots are still valid. If they don't have a slot, then we try to assign them one. And then after that, we would go and create empties. Yeah, create any more clients for any slot that don't have one yet. So so validate existing clients to see if they have a lobby slot, or see if their current slot is still okay for them, and then assign any clients without a slot to an open slot. And then if there are not enough slots, kick and destroy any remaining clients. Exception for the host client, create a new slot set as a spectator. Yeah, because we don't ever want to kick the host, so if there's not enough slots for them, that means something weird has gone on. That shouldn't ever happen. But if it does, we'll just create a new slot just for the host and set it as a spectator. And then after that, we would, if there are any remaining open slots, create a new client for each. And this client, of course, wouldn't have a connection to, associated with it yet. Okay, so I think that will work. Okay, so let's do a little pseudocode here. So for each var client in active our clients.active values. Or no, let's do keys. If okay, so let's see, so validate and reassign client. And if this is true, then we just have config change to true. And then we need to look our client and clients. Well, actually, okay, I'm thinking that if I need to do this, but actually what would happen is this validate would see when it gets to a specific client that there's no more open slots, so it would just kick them at that point. So I think, yeah, this function will do most of the heavy lifting. I also need to pass the lobby slot data to it. And oops. I actually just need this, so that would be the slot. Oh well, no, because we'll need to look for multiples. We'll need to look, yeah, at all slots. So never mind. It'll just be the lobby parameter data. The lobby parameter data. Okay, so first thing I need to do is check if this client is already assigned a slot. So if, I guess we'll get the actual client. So this is the client ID. Those clients, active client ID. So if client dot lobby slot index is greater than or equal to 0, that means it has a slot already. So we need to make sure that this is valid. Okay, so if client n valid slot is false, is false, then we would set client lobby slot index to -1, and then it will just need to be placed in something else. Okay, so we're gonna do that later. Okay, so then yeah, we'll do another test here. So if lobby slot index is less than 0, that means it needs to be assigned a slot. Okay, so if so we'll need to look through the lobby parameters data. Okay, so right now I'm not going to worry about optimization. So some of this code might be a little slow, but it'll be okay. So for int slot index equals 0, slot index less than lobby parameter data slot length. Oh, I also Yeah, so if slots is 0, then it has null length. So let's see. I should check that actually. So int num slots equals lobby parameter data slots. Equals null 0. Okay. And then we'll use this. This lobby parameter data could be null too. We should, let's make this easier on myself and check it up here. So if lobby parameter data is null, what would I do? Basically that means that there's no slots, so we would kick everybody. Or if it's null, should I just disregard this message? I think that is what I'll do. So if lobby parameter is null, or lobby parameter data is null, then we'll just, I guess, let's debug something. Debug log error null or corrupted lobby parameters set message ignoring, and then we'll just return. I think that's the best thing to do. But yeah, having an empty slot array might not mean it's corrupted. It just means that it has no slots, which is kind of weird, but we'll just deal with it. So anyway, first I need to check. Okay, maybe we can reuse this function. So client, let's rename this. So is valid slot for client, and we'll have a client ID, and we'll just send it its slot index here. So we can use the same function down here, I think. So if is valid slot for client. Then we would assign this client the slot. So client lobby slot index. Oh, no, that's right. Equals slot index, and then we would break. Okay, but at this point, if the client lobby slot index is still less than 0, then we need to kick them. But only if they're not the host. So how we can tell if it's the host is if it has a connection ID of 0. That's always the host connection. I don't know if I should just hard code this in though. I think that's how I've done it before. Okay, actually, doesn't look like the has ever cared about that. So let's just look clients, client helper. Come on. Is host client ID. I'll just use this helper for that, so that way if I ever have to change this logic, there'll just be one function to do it. And this will just return client ID greater than or equals 0. Oh, actually I gotta get the actual class, so. Oh, that's not gonna work. So clients, client, if client's active, try get value, client ID. So if that's true, then we'll return client connection is 0. Otherwise, we'll return false because, yeah, if there's no client, then it can't be the host. I might have done something like this similar to see if the connection is the host, but that's okay. Yeah, so if it is the host, then we'll need to create a new slot for it. I think I'll just have a separate function for this. So private void create slot for host, and we'll just pass it the client ID of the host. Okay, so if I do that, I have to set this lobby or change the lobby parameter data. Oh, I guess I could still do that. So yeah, I'll need to pass that too. Because yeah, we've already guaranteed that this isn't null, so that's fine. Yes, we'll implement this later. Oh. Okay, so create slot for host. And okay. That's good. I haven't been checking if there's been a change, so is change, set this to false. And then we'll return is change. Actually, there's always a change here, because yeah, if it's not the host, we have to disconnect. So else force disconnect client ID, and I think I can just destroy the client ID. So force disconnected doesn't destroy the client yet. That's it. Active. Well, it just gets the client and then the connection. Resets the connection and then tells the connection to disconnect. So I also just need to destroy the client object. So it's active.remove client ID. I can't do that because I'm looping through. So I should have just a list of IDs to destroy. So private list int clients to destroy. Okay. So that's good, and now I guess here I'll loop through that for each var client ID and clients to destroy, and then we'll just do clients active remove client ID, and then we'll clear that list. So I think that's all good. What else? So we've done this part, and now I just need to check if there's any open slots that don't have a client. For int slot index equals 0, slot index less than LP. Oh, I have to do that thing again if this is null. Although actually I think by this point it should never be null because we would have created one slot for the host, but I don't know, might as well just be safe. slot index plus plus. Yeah, so let's see. If client helper get client for lobby slot index is greater or is less than 0, which means that there's no client for this, then we'll just want to create a new one. So clients, add client, new client. And we'll just want to, basically I'll just have lobby slot index equals slot index. And I think that's all I have to do here. I won't set any tags. And the username won't be set yet. Well, actually, it might need to be. Definitely no connection ID and maybe not a flag. Well, okay, let's see. So the username, equals data slots index. Oh, one other thing I have to do also is I have to make sure that we actually care about this slot. Okay, so let's make another function for this actually. So if create client for an assigned slot. I would just do something like that. All right, so yeah. If lobby parameter data slot. Oh, I guess we're gonna need to get this a bunch. So var slot equals data slot index. If slot dot type. So if it's a player or a spectator. But actually, it's we only care about it if it's a player that's not a guest too. So private bool slot needs client. Okay, so this would, I guess we'll just switch the slot type. So if it's a player, we only care if slot dot is guest is false. So somewhere, well, I don't think the server will care about this. But somewhere in our validation, when we take care of guests, we'll have to make sure that... Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, we'll see. I don't think the server has to care about this because it'll just be one client that has multiple players on it. So I'm worried about, like, in the game, for our guest player that has, like, well, we need to make sure that other players don't try to send actions for that guest. Yeah, we'll see about that. If we do have to worry, then maybe the server might have to try and enforce some things, because it would be the only one that would know what connection messages are coming from. Anyway, so for a spectator, we'll just always return true, because it needs a client. Default, I think that's just AI. So would be if slot needs client. I do this a lot also. Private bool is slot assigned client. So I can check that up here. Where did I do that? Oh, here, but we have to get this client anyway, so. Okay, so yeah, we need to see if this slot needs a client and it's not assigned a client, then we'll just add a new one. So our client equals new clients client. Yeah, we can go ahead and give it the slot index. And then if slot dot user end slot, which just means, this is probably a bad name for it, but it basically just means that there's a username assigned. Let's actually change it. So username that's just because a null string in these messages could have been set to null due to corruption, so it's better just to have a separate little function like this. So if that's true, then client.username would change to the set username, and then also we would set this flags to taken. Oh. Okay, and then we return true because we've done change. Okay, so I think that's it. Yeah, so we saw if there's any remaining open slots, we create a new client. So I'm just gonna look through here and see if there's anything I forgot, but this is kind of old. Because before we had a client for every lobby slot, but we don't really need that. So this is just checking if it's a player, and then if it's none, then we open the client up. If it's open, then we set to taken. If it's taken, then we check. This is basically checking to see if it's still valid. Oh yeah, so there's nothing really to see here. Okay, so yeah, we do that. Yeah, we queued this, and then also, this shouldn't be config change. This is actually client change, and so I don't... Okay, that's a good point. I think... Yeah, I send the message back immediately, don't I? But I actually should wait until after this runs. So maybe this client lobby match... Okay, yeah, it might be better if this was not done by an event, but was actually just a callback. I think I might change it to that. So public... And if that's the case, then this doesn't need to be a flow logic container. Although it does queue this event, doesn't it? Well, I mean, it can still be a flow logic container. It just won't subscribe to any event. Yeah, that's no big deal. But the main thing is it needs to set the new data. So it should just return lobby params data. Okay, so here we return null because it's corrupted. Alright, so that would happen if there's a client change. Right, and the data has been changed here already. I could clone it, but there's really no big deal. So this is a little unneeded, but so the only time that this data would actually change is if we have to add another slot for the host. So actually the class that deals with this would be the class that intercepts these messages. Is this the flow manager? No. Oh, here. So we'll want to clear this, change message null on the server stop. So this would actually get a lobby parameter set message now. Okay, so this kind of complicates things because this client slot lobby match, well, it doesn't actually matter because right now I queue this immediate so that the client would update right away, but these, we know that this is going to be called sometime in between our tick, our outside of the tick loop, because this happens whenever Unity gets our handles networking. So it's not going to happen during ticking, so it's safe to just queue it normally, I think. Used to, I queued it immediately again because I changed the client, so I wanted anything that had to deal with clients to know immediately that they changed, but it will be... I think it's safe to change it to... just queued instead of queued immediate. Anyway, this would be last. Oh, actually, I don't even need to set this anymore because I can just pass it. Yeah, because I don't actually. Yes, this will be fine. So I don't need this lobby messages anymore here. Gonna rearrange the way these classes are set up. So lobby params set message will be passed to us. Here. I don't need to store the last set message. I need to get a reference to client slot lobby match. And okay, so yeah, before we send anything back, we would first ask the slot matcher to match the lobby parameters. And it would return to us back the lobby parameter data. And so then we actually create a new message. So lobby params change message equals new. And this only has the data. And then we would send this to all clients. Okay, so that's much better. So is there any, now that this runs outside of the tick loop, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that could happen. Okay, I don't think it queues any other events. Yeah, so I think this is safe. Okay, so the other thing I need to do, let's finish up those last two functions. Also, I noticed I had a public function in here that I don't need. Okay, so here is valid slot for client. First I'll need to get the client. Equals clients active client ID. Oh, and I also need to have this passed to me. And then var slot equals lobby param data slot index. If okay, so the first thing I need to check is if there's already a client assigned here, then it's not valid, but only if that client is not me. Okay, so let's see, int previous client equals client helper. Gotta get client for lobby slot. So if prev client does not equal client ID and previous client is greater than or equal to 0, then we'd return false. Otherwise, if slot dot type, or I guess let's do this. So else if slot needs client is false, then we return false. And then the other option would be if the slot is locked to a username that's different than us. So if slot username set and slot username not, or should we do this? Yeah, I think we should. Slot username to upper variant does not equal client username to upper variant. Oh, also I need to check if they're null. do this way. Private bool equal usernames. Screen client. I guess we could just do it this way. So user A. I don't know why we not need to test this for any other thing, but so if string is null or empty is the same for this, then we'd return true. Otherwise, we'll test this way. Okay, so again, if the username has been set, but they're not equal, then we'd want to return false. So what else? Slot needs client. Client already assigned here, that's not us. Slot need client is just different here. And then we gotta check if the username's not been assigned already. This should probably be public because the well, it'll be different actually. Never mind. I was gonna say because the validator might need this. But not actually, because it just would look for clients that already exist. So I think if it gets past all those, then we can return true. Where do I'm thinking about that. Somewhere I need to go look through and assign tags to clients. Maybe I should do that after we've done all this. So at the end we'll do for each our client and client's active keys. If well, we don't even need to do that, so just assign tags. So we'll do this at the very end. I think it's easier to do it like this instead of trying to keep track of it mid work. I already tried to do it there, but oh yeah, I need to pass the parameter data. Okay, so the only other thing is I need to do this. So if client, or I don't need to check that actually. So if lobby parameter data dot slots is null, then data slots equals new 1, and we'll deal with that later. So otherwise we would just create a new array and populate everything. So far old array is LP data slots, and then LP data slots equals new old array length +1. Okay, and then we need to go through and loop and add the old ones. So s equals length. So now it's just an empty slot at the end of this. So LP data slots, data slots length -1. So the last one, we'll just add a new type, spectator, username. Okay, I guess we gotta get the client. So var client equals clients active client ID, because I'll need the username for this. So username is client username set true is guest false. What else is there? Oh, AI script. Don't need to deal with either of these, so. Okay, so yeah, so this just creates a spectator slot for the client, and I guess it should assign the client to it. So client slot index equals data slots length -1. Let's like get or calculate that twice. Okay, I think that's good. Do I? Oh, actually, do I already set that? No, I just create slot for host. Also, when I call this force disconnect, should I should probably clear the lobby slot also. Equals -1. Well, no, not necessarily, because if I just kick a player, that client still exists. It's just been cleared of that person. So I don't want to remove the lobby slot index there, but I'd want to remove it on certain occasions. Like here, I'm going to destroy the client. So I should go ahead, since it's not destroyed immediately, I should go ahead and remove this now so we know that there's no client assigned to it for further ones down the line. So I just need to do this. For client. I guess I will need the lobby parameter data. So first we'll clear the flags. 0 client. So I guess we'll need the slot. I guess, yeah, by this point every client should have a slot associated with it, so yeah, I think this is safe to do. So if slot dot username set, then client dot flags taken. Yeah, this might not like really be needed anymore now that I think about it, because outside of the lobby, every client will be taken because there won't be any null clients, but this is fine. And then if slot dot type is spectator, then client flags equals spectator. Okay, so that's fine. Again, it's not really used yet, but I'm glad that I have it supported. here it has a dot. Okay, so one thing I was thinking about is that do I want to make sure that spectator players, our clients, are always attached to a spectator? I guess there's pros and cons to that. But I feel like if there's no spectators available, then we shouldn't just kick them. And yeah, if you're rearranging things, then it is kind of weird. You can just reassign them to another slot. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, that's not that difficult to add. Alright, so the last thing I need to do is update the validation. About this. That's fine. Okay, so the connection validator. And what this does, for every client that we want to accept, at first it tries to find a slot that's specifically for this username. If it can't find one, it just tries to get an open slot. Which, now that I think about it, should work. I don't have to really change much here. Is there anything wrong with the way I loop through clients? So we actually check to make sure this client, or this connection, does not have a client already, and then we check the password. Get the username. If there's a slot, then we associate the slot, which I guess we'll do there. Associate username. Okay, so this is just checking stuff for debugging. Okay, so there's no state anymore. So how do I want to? I guess, yeah, we'll just use the flags. So client.flags and taken. I gotta put this in parentheses. So yeah, that means if this client has been. Well, really, do I even need to do that? If the client username equals this username, then the client should just go in this slot. Yeah, so I don't really even care about those flags. Okay, and so get open state, it just checks to see. But really, it should just check to see if the client has a connection already. So if it has no connection, then we'll just return this. Oh yeah, I can't loop through them like this actually, so for each var client ID, or let's do this. Pair and clients active. Pair value and client ID is pair key. Okay, so associate slot, we just set this connection to the client and the username. We don't care about the state anymore. And then it sets the connection to the client. This slot, okay, I should rename this to client ID. Because this, yeah, this verifier doesn't care about the lobby slots, period. Okay, so we should rename this to client ID. And I guess I should make sure that this is all used correctly. Actually, nothing uses it, so no big deal there. Okay, so I think this is fine. So does this username ever get cleared once somebody is attached to it? I guess it would need to be cleared if you kick that user, so let me do that. So yeah, if you kick the user, then we'll clear the username so that way it'll be open for other players to come in. Yeah, so here. Client dot... Oh, I gotta get the client, so... Clients, active... Client... Username is null. That's fine. We don't need to, like I said, we don't have to disassociate the lobby slot index because this client can still stay here. It just won't have a user attached with it. Also, should we? Yeah, so okay, a client that doesn't have. Okay, let me think here. How would this work? So I'm trying to think, like, if there's a client that's looking for a slot, but the slot has been reserved for a username, but this client has empty, or this client has no username associated with it, what would happen? It would get to here, and then this would return false because the slot has a username set. Client is null, slot is not null. So then it would return false, and then disassociate the slot. Well, I mean, I guess that doesn't really matter. And then at the, it might just get destroyed, and then we would create a new one matching the username. So I think I'll just do that instead of, I mean, we're going to generate a little garbage, but who cares? I think that just makes it a little easier. Technically, this, if a username set and a client does not have a username, then that would still be okay, only if there's no connection. But there would be no connection if it didn't have a username, so I'll just leave it like this to avoid complication. It'll work fine. So are we done? I think so. And like I said, I don't think this taken flag really matters. But I'll just leave it. Okay. Let's see if there's probably going to be some errors. Lobby parameter message. Oh yeah. So on the client side, when I change the names of some of the messages, lobby parameters change message. Also, I don't check to see if any of this is null, so if message is null, or message dot data is null, or message data slots is null. I guess I should actually be doing this backwards. If the entire message is null, then, or the data is null, that means something got corrupted. So I probably just not do anything. Well, I would need to fire some error. Actually, I think I just want to queue these events, and then it would ask the server again. So if so it'll turn false in this case. I guess here the data, or the slots could still be null, that just means there'd be no slots, so that's fine. I think so I don't have to keep doing message data. Let's change it. So net. So we don't actually care about this. We can do lobby params data. Okay, that way that changes that a bit. What did I change this name to? Username set. I think that is better. So if net message equals null, or I guess I should do it like this. So or yeah, this does not equal null, and then this returns true. Okay, and if we get down here, we can just return true. Also, if content mod names is null, then we would also just assume that it's an empty list. This should be does not equal. I keep on doing it backwards today. I did it backwards there too. Okay, so that's good. What about... Okay, so the actual message listener that listens for the lobby parameters just needs to change this type. Not that big of a deal. And then what sends the message will also need to send the new commands. So get message, and I'm not sure how I'll send commands yet. I guess I'll need to somehow give it the option, so I'm gonna do a little cheat here so I don't have to type everything. Let's change this to data, and then var data equals new lobby params data, and then this will actually be the message. Message.data. Oop. Data. And this is lobby params data slot. Okay, there we go. And this should change to username set. Okay, so now it gets the correct message type. Okay, so I think we're ready to go unless there's some other error that pops up here that I might have overlooked. Oh, there are some more. So, client synchronizer. Oh, right, so this is client doesn't exist, so I should change this to lobby slot. This is on the client side, so the client has information about its other clients that are connected. Maybe this should be where we get information about any guests. Okay, that's simple. Whoa, what did I... Okay, this is it's called slot index, but same thing. Params manager, lobby messages does not contain... Oh yeah, so I just need to change that name there. Message collector, add... Oh yeah, this used to be a list, so instead I have to set received index equals new received. Yeah, because it's a dictionary now. I have a feeling there'll be some bugs associated with that. Hopefully not too bad. Okay, so this has received from all. What should I do here? Well, again, it doesn't really matter. I guess I could have a flags thing here too. But let's not do that yet. So I guess really... Yeah, so if any slot is open, or any taken slots disconnected are invalid, or all slots are none, return false. But now every client should have a slot associated with it, and they're only players, so we really just need to check if... I think we can just take this all down to this part. So if any client is disconnected or for some reason hasn't been updated and is received, which I guess I should change this. So received dot contains key I is false, or received valid is false, then we return false. And then at least one taken. I don't need to do that anymore because we just return true. I think that was before. If everything was open, then we would just move forward, but I don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah, so in some ways I've complicated the clients, but in other ways I've kind of simplified what they mean. What else? Okay, so it's just saying that there's no state anymore. Yeah, so I don't need to do that. Set connection ID to 0. And then I think the verifier should, or validator should put something in there. Yeah. One other thing I should do, let me see. I wish that there was a flag or something that you could tell C# to automatically set an integer to -1 when it's evaluated. Because yeah, when we create a new lobby slot, our new client, the connection ID should definitely be -1 and not 0. So where do I do that? Create a new one. Create slot for host. Okay, yeah, so here's where we add a new one. So we can do connection ID is -1 because that means it needs to have a connection. Alright, so let's take a look at these warnings. I think most of it's going to have to do with the UI, but lobby inspector, parameter requester. Local connection is assigned but not used. Guess okay, well I think before I was going to say that we wouldn't request anything if we're not the host, but I think that might still be true. Let me see, request command. Okay, well that's fine. Well, I guess at some point we might want to request stuff from the server, so I probably should not set this that it only allows from the host. Right. Let's see what else. Receiver state is assigned but not used. Okay, that's because I wasn't sure what state we would want to stop accepting messages from the server. Let's see, so if state dot phase I guess if it's exit we wouldn't want. I don't know. I think we should just always accept from the server. Okay, and then this is saying that a bunch of the events don't have anything yet. Oops. Yeah, delete that. But that's fine because they're just in preparation for when we get back to the UI. We've taken a big detour to do the server, but I guess it's to be expected. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. The requester, yeah, it doesn't need the lobby parameters. Wait, what even is this? Oh, this was the old thing. Okay, let's just delete this class because yeah, this was actually part of the loading scene, and it's not needed anymore because we synced at the end of the lobby phase. So I'll just delete that so we can get rid of the warning. Okay, come on. Events, so and inspector. So I think we're good to go. Let's test it out. So hopefully everything will still work the same as it always has, but now we'll have support for kicking and transferring clients, and everything will just be a lot easier. Okay, so no object of type client slot lobby match found. Oh, probably I just need to rearrange the order that they're initialized. First of all, what does this need? It needs clients, connections, events, and then this helper, so it can go pretty early. Client slot lobby match. Well, it's right there. Oh, but it's not bound, so context bind this. So we'll initialize it. I guess it doesn't really need to be initialized, but oh, really? Well, that's okay. Oh, it doesn't return. I think this one does. Yeah, so now I don't need this. It doesn't even have a tick function or an event listener, so I really don't need to initialize it. But in case. Okay, so nothing so far. So if I create and then try to create a server. Okay, well that's a good sign. So it did connect the host to me. Or the host to the server. I'll get rid of some of this stuff. Let's pause it so it doesn't disconnect me from being timed out. So let's see. So server is on the lobby phase now. Oh, okay, yeah, this is just server stuff. Okay, now this is on the client's changing to validating, and then we send the validation request with no password and test username. Server sends us back that our client ID is 1. That's fine. I don't know if we actually do anything with that. Actually, yeah, that's right, because yeah, so it assigns us 1 because 0 was the last taken, even though nothing ever set to 0, but that's fine. So then client info, test username connected to slot 0. Yeah, so the server's just sending that to everybody. And then we get validated, connected. Manager success, lobby phase. Our setup phase going to exit. So now we're in the lobby. Flow manager, lobby entered. Let's destroy those hooks. Okay, so in the setup, we're going to send things to the server. So this should be when the magic happens, but so, I mean, everything seems fine. It did queue a client connection change event, which I don't know why. Oh, because it created more clients. Lobby parameters. Third parameters. Okay. Oh yeah, and so here, connect change test username connected slot 0, unknown, disconnected slot 1, unknown slot 2, and unknown slot 3. So that's good to see. It does. The server just sent that to the clients. Okay, so what happens if I set this Oh, it's not really updated, is it? Because why was that a guest? We set this to like AI. Oh, so the server created another thing for me, but did it do that already? Let me see. Connected to slot 4. Slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, and test username disconnected to slot 0. Okay, so that's not correct. Yeah, it should have reset this, I think. Yeah, this username should have been unknown because it's saying that nothing is connected to slot 0 right now. Because I think what happened is and this also isn't updated correctly, it's saying this is an AI, when this should be me. So if wait, did it create another? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so obviously something weird is going on. Let me check. So yeah, this is spectator element 0, which should still be fine. And this is none, which that's weird. It seems like whenever I change anything, this creates something new from. Oh, it didn't that time actually. But if I change this to player, it assigns me. It creates another slot for the host, but for some reason this is showing up as being an AI, and I think. Oh yeah, because the type is none. Oh no, it's spectator. Did I not update this yet? Maybe that's why. Let me check. And also, yeah, every time this happens, this username should be set to unknown instead of keeping my test username hooked in there. Well, I don't know if the server should deal with that or not. Well, this is the username associated with that client, so yeah, there shouldn't be more than one. Okay, but it's obviously still a little buggy, so I won't worry about that. The username sticking around too much until it's easier to test. I think I need to like get in some more controls. Oops, I didn't want to update that actually. I don't want to go there either. So lobby. Actually, I had the debugging so I could actually see the clients on the server too. I forgot to update that. Actually, is it working? Because I think it's not gonna work now because the clients I changed to be a dictionary, so I'm gonna need to do something different. Also, this doesn't have the ID in it, does it? I should change this a little bit. So, serializable. This will help a lot with testing, I'm sure. Public. This is the system. Struct. Connection. Inspector. And this will just have the int connection ID and then the connections connection class. And we'll do the same thing with the client. We'll just put ID there. And this is because you can't serialize a dictionary, so we have to go through this kind of hackish thing to get it to display and the Unity inspector, which we definitely want to do. Is there anything else useful in clients? Oh yeah, the password. I guess we'd want to be able to see that. Okay, so this is actually not very what's the word? Not very efficient at all. So if debug. Oh my gosh, it's completely lost track of time. Let's see if I can finish this. And if. But yeah, this will only compile if we're in an if statement. This should go there. Or if we're in a debug mode. So connection list, clear, and then add range. Have a different, well, I don't know. For each var connection in connections connected if, oh no, we don't have to do an if, so connection list, add new, oh, I have to get the pair actually, so ID is pair key and then connection is pair value. And we'll do the same thing for the client. Okay, again, this is just doing ready checks. I think everything else will work. Let's see if we get some better debugging from that, and then I guess we'll call it and try and fix the rest of it next time. But yeah, I think in order to fix these bugs, I'm gonna need to get better helpers, debug helpers. But yeah, we can see this, but of course nothing is there yet because we haven't connected to anything. So now we've got 4 clients and 1 connection, which is the host. And actually, I don't think it'll time me out because there's no timeouts in the lobby. So test username, connection 0. So that looks fine. So what, it's the weird thing happened when I tried to change these, so at least it didn't mess up there. Did it assign? Oh, it deleted a client. Okay, so obviously something like these are not mapping to the actual types very well. Yeah, because this is set to none now. So if I move this. Oh, you know what? I messed with that, but did I not apply the changes? That could be what's causing all this confusion. Drop down. Yeah, so I have non-player guest spectator AI. I must not have hit apply. So if I delete that, now it should work. It should match better. And that could be the whole issue that was going on. So what was happening was I kept removing the player and there was nowhere for it to go. Now if I move this to AI, it should delete that client. It does. And then if I move this back to player, it adds another client in there. And if I change this to none, okay, then it adds another slot, which isn't what should happen. So this is my slot, but it's kind of hard to tell because, well, you can see here the I was giving me slot index 4, but really it should have just placed me in one of these because they weren't assigned to anybody. Oh yeah, we'll look into that. I think yeah, we should be able to debug it. We'll work on that tomorrow. But yeah, I need to go get a bite to eat. So thanks everybody for coming by and watching. I really appreciate it. A bit of a different stream. I know netcode's not the most exciting, but has to be done. But I think pretty soon we'll be finished with all this. Most of the netcode, I think. We'll have to do a little bit of ready checks and stuff in the lobby, but not too much. But feel free to follow me here on Twitch or Twitter if you want to be notified when I go live tomorrow. It should be around noon Eastern. I also have a YouTube channel where I upload past videos if you'd like to see how the game used to look or just catch up on anything you might have missed. I also have a Discord server where I'm online there most of the day, so if you'd like to chat with me, I'd love to have you. But I'll put links in chat, or you can check out the video description if you're watching on YouTube. And I think that's about it. So yeah, have a great day, and I'll hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.